G'day everyone, I'm Smokescreen and welcome back to another episode of the Trackside Lounge podcast. Once again, as always, it's a pleasure to be back here, joined as always by Nismo and Atom. How are we going today, gentlemen?
Doing great, mate.
Good, mate.
Well, excellent. Good down here. Weather's a bit funky for Nismo, I think.
Yeah, it's a bit wet, but we're dodging raindrops, so all good.
That's good. And uniquely today, we are actually joined by a guest. Quite a notable individual from the Gran Turismo scene, multiple world finalist, 2022 Nations Cup runner-up, 2022 Nations Cup America's champion, Yazheat esports driver from Chile, Angel Inostroza. How are you going today?
Hello, yeah. Awesome. I hope you too as well, yeah?
Yeah, we're great. We're so grateful that you are spending some time out of your day to join us in our little podcast here in Oceania. So thanks very much for the opportunity.
No, thanks to you guys.
And at a very late time of the night as well. 11 p.m. for you over there in South America?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, really?
11 p.m. We're in summer. I heard you were with a storm, something like that. I mean, imagine. We have the sun and everything. It's hot like hell.
I didn't actually realise it was that late at night.
I mean...
makes it even more special that you're doing that for us.
Yeah. Well, we're supposed to be in summer too, but apparently nature has other ideas, but that's all good.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, alright. Atom, I think you've got several prompts. Let's get this started.
I do. So obviously we ended the last episode on a bit of a cliffhanger for those who were watching. We were about to talk about the Monaco World Finals for 2022. It was going to be a big subject, and we'd gone on so long in that episode that we decided, why not make an entire episode dedicated to that one subject? So that's what we're going to do. But before we talk about the big bad of the Monaco World Finals, I just want to touch on... we did talk about it previously, the World Series Showdown in Austria. So you were there for that, Angel, representing Porsche, as well as driving in the Nations Cup in Austria. How was that for you?
Pretty good. Well, actually, the Nations Cup Grand Final wasn't the best because I knew that getting the top 3 of the previous race on the regional races, I get the chance and actually qualified to the world final. So that was my goal, and I didn't practice the grand final. So yeah, I just only focused on the regional final, which I finished in 3rd place, if I'm not mistaken. Then the grand final was like, okay, I just have to race, and whatever happens, I just reached my goal. And the Manufacturer Series. Sadly, we had a technical issue with the wheel we had on the cockpit, and we were literally fighting for the podium, and nothing happened at the end. Sadly, we didn't get the result we wanted.
Yeah, I remember watching that one, and you would have been really gutted because I think it was after the first stint, which
exactly
Jose did, and
no, actually, I did the first stint.
Oh, you did the first.
Then I pitted, and Connor took the car, and that was the where the problems began. So sadly, Jose didn't race at all.
He didn't even get a go. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least you got to do your stint, so because I'm sure you would have practiced for the Manufacturers Series at Austria a bit more than the Nations Cup, because obviously you weren't focused on the final. And
exactly.
I think we know a couple of others who kind of like that, just on their regional finals with the goal of getting to the grand final, so they'd end up at the world finals. Matthew McEwen comes to mind.
Yeah.
We spoke to him after the event as well in Austria, and he was buzzing. He was so happy that he got through to the world finals at the end of the year. And I guess the same kind of goal applied to everyone else, because it's not the world finals, is it? It's just it's kind of a bragging rights at the World Series Showdown if you win the grand final.
Yeah, you could have taken it like practice, for example, because it was the same car, the Red Bull. But yeah, that race actually didn't give you nothing too important. But yeah, it gave you like 6 points for the first place, if I'm not mistaken. But I think it wasn't worth it at all.
Yeah, definitely best to put
It's
the focus
my
on
personal thoughts.
the regional final. Yeah, well, you definitely weren't alone in that, and I think it really sucks that for Team Porsche in that manufacturers series race with that equipment failure, which was nobody's fault. Well, nobody driving's fault. It was someone who set it up. I think was the story that we were told.
Yeah. Actually, we were told that. Yeah, we were told that the wheel just failed, and that's it. Nothing else we could do, or everyone could have done.
Such a shame when that happens, because like the commentators kind of they say, "Oh, failures happen in real life," so this is kind of the sim racing equivalent. I feel like it just happens a bit too often, though.
It has. There's been a lot this year or last year.
It certainly happened. Yeah. I don't think it's necessarily that it's happened so much. It's more that it's happened so much in such a recent, like it's happened a lot within a short time span, rather than, it's been a bit curious as of late, and especially, there are some people that are really hurting over it, but like I see both arguments. I mean, like you said, Smoke, about the failures happen in real life too, but yeah, it's got to be a bit concerning that they're starting to happen a bit too frequently now. Like once or twice you're sort of like, oh yeah, that's life, but then it's been a bit more than that lately.
Yeah, we had this discussion about something similar recently. It was just the other day actually, about the possibility of introducing unequal pit stops. So like in an online race, someone might have a 2-second pit stop, and then someone else their pit crew might have a mistake and they end up with a 4-second pit stop, and like that would be cool for immersion, and I think we mentioned that, but it would also mean that the person who ends up with a 4-second stop out of nowhere is going to feel super hard done by, just because, the game is trying to replicate real life, and obviously aren't necessarily equal.
I feel like a good way to implement that would be, I see a similar thing with the F1 game, well, last year now, F1 22, where there was like full immersion pit stops, so you had to like execute your turn in and stuff like that, and depending how close you were to optimal, determine how long your stop was. So like if you did like a perfect turn in every time, you'd have the shortest stop, but then if you turned in way too late, you'd maybe stop for a couple of extra seconds, because I don't know, maybe I guess the idea is the car's not positioned perfectly in the pit box or something. But yeah.
We don't even drive into the pits on GT, do we?
No.
We get that cutscene, and I think Project Cars had a similar thing too, where like you could turn. It was an option you could disable or enable. As you.
I would put it like what you get on ACC, for example, because I started playing ACC about a year ago, so I'm doing both. How can I say it? 2 esports video games I'm playing right now. So yeah, ACC it's completely manual, the pit stop, where you have to brake, when to put the pit limiter. You can set it manually or automatic. So yeah, you have to pit all by yourself, and you have to do it perfectly. It's not like on GT where you have that cinematic stuff, and no, it's everyone gets the same pit stop time in GT, but then on ACC you make one mistake, or you missed your parking spot, if that is correct, and you lose like 3 seconds.
Jeez.
So which do you? I was going to say, which do you prefer then? Like, because I suppose,
it's hard to say because, on GT everyone gets equal pit stops, and that makes things a lot fair. But I don't know. I like the reality, so I would. Yeah. I would say ACC. I prefer ACC. Yes.
Okay.
Fair enough.
I think, like personally, I mean, again, it depends on the context. If we're talking like a sprint race, like GT races in past have sometimes been quite short. They've been sort of like maybe 15, 20-minute races, but now we're starting to see a bit longer, right? Like the 787Bs at Daytona just recently was. I think that was like a 35-minute race, 36-minute was a good race time. We're starting to see these longer ones, and in those ones, when you barrel into the pits at warp factor 9, it's almost like you can sort of just take a quick breath and you can catch your breath, and oh boy, quick, and you know that the computer's doing the pit stop. So you have that time to just, grab a drink and stretch quick or whatever you have to do. But then, like you say, Angel, about ACC, it's realistic because obviously you have to come into the pits, you have the limiter, you've got to, hit your marks and all that sort of stuff. So, it's nice to have options, I suppose. There's definitely going to be people that have different views. So
it's just a different level of depth and simulation, isn't it? Because GT is obviously trying to... They've always said they're trying to cater to the casuals as much as possible, the casual players, more than the pros. And obviously, at the level that most of us are at, having to do your own pit stops would not be something that we would struggle to pick up. But for someone who's just picked up the game, they're not going to want to have to deal with that. So I guess it'll never come to GT, but it's obviously something that guys at our level and above would definitely want to deal with as part of their races. So we're all done with the World Series Showdown. We'll move into our Monaco discussion because this is what people are trying to hear about, and that's why we're here. So we'll start off with the GRGT Cup because it was obviously the first event that was dealt with on site, and you didn't compete in that one, did you, Angel?
No.
No. So did you try to qualify?
No. Or maybe I did like the first 2 races, but then it was like, no, I don't have time for this. I will focus on Nations Cup and Manufacturer Series, and that's it.
Yeah, it was quite an interesting event. So you obviously would have got to watch it as a spectator like us, but on site, what did you think of the shenanigans that went down in the GRGT Cup at the World Finals?
Sorry, can you repeat that again, please?
So, in kind of the driving standards that were on display in the GRGT Cup, so there was a lot of crashes, a lot of bumping,
I get what
side
you
to
mean,
side and things. What did you think of what was happening there?
Obviously, it doesn't look good because the first round was with the Super, right?
Yep, at high speed ring.
Yes, such a bad combo because you saw all kind of crashes, everything, all people crashing into each other, bumping, everything. I don't know. It was a complete mess. It doesn't look good for a game.
No, and then in the repechage, I think it was at Tokyo in the Super Formulas.
Yes, another bad combo.
Yes, yeah.
Gallo didn't even get off the line. He had a glitch.
Yeah.
Do we know what happened there?
Yeah, actually, talking about the previous topic, the technical issues, Monaco happened as well, as you said. So yeah, it was the same cockpit that Valerio.
I
Yes,
heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, because Valerio took the Toyota Cup was the first championship that people raced. So that was I don't remember the cup number, but then again on the Nations Cup Grand Final, Baptiste had the technical issues, and I think if I'm not mistaken, it was the same cockpit again.
Wow. Right, okay. I was going to ask about that because I've heard that it was the same rig every time, but I kind of wanted concrete confirmation of it.
From someone.
Yeah, exactly, from someone that was actually there. So that's interesting.
Now, see, in Valerio's case, right, where it was because like the manufacturer's one, the race was already underway. Gran Turismo doesn't have a way of stopping the race without terminating it completely. So that incident was obviously that sucked, but the game's not built for that sort of thing. Valerio's case, he didn't even get off the line, as you said. Why would they not just red flag the race or restart it? Or that can't be that hard to do.
He was even there on the second lap. They came around and he was still on the grid. I think he'd managed to get moving and moved out of the way, but he was still there. They hadn't even pulled him off the track yet.
Exactly. It's such a bad bad thing that can happen for GT. I mean, it doesn't look good. You add the crashes, the bad combos, the technical issues, and yeah,
it was a disaster.
It doesn't look good. Yeah, it's sad. Yes, yeah.
It is, because it could have been a good championship, couldn't it?
So those combos was the problem with the high speed one, like all the slipstreaming that was going on? Did that cause that would have caused a lot of the drama, right? Yeah. So, like, I guess they should have chosen a track that wasn't so heavy on the slipstream. I think that would have made for a much better race in terms of like it looking good, because all the slipstream is obviously going to cause some issues.
Like, I can see what they were trying to do. Obviously, high speed ring. I mean, like I don't know how they picked the combos. Whether they
had to do all Japanese tracks for Toyota Cup.
Okay, fair enough.
Regional track as well.
Yeah. So for the sake
promoting, they added the original.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. So, you can see the theory of some of the game's top drivers roaring around high banked turns. It looks cool. It's such a spectacle. But then obviously, like you say, you have the dirty air and you have all of those dramas. Did they race at Fuji at all?
They did. They did the final at Fuji in the GR10.
Yeah. And it would be because Fuji, I believe, is sponsored by GR. So because you see all the boards and
we're always there. The Yaris has been there twice, I think.
Yep. So
did they use Suzuka?
Not in the World Finals. They used it in the series. I know they have in the past. Okay. The online championship.
I feel like the Supra race, if it was at Suzuka instead of high speed ring, that would have been a lot better, right?
Dude, Tokyo Central would have been better.
All this Suzuka would have been better, but you get the DHR, and actually I think that no overtake was gonna be made in Suzuka.
It's a one-time track,
and that would have been boring. But you get more entertaining races, but at the same time, it doesn't look good with high-speed ring.
Yeah.
To be fair, I can agree with that, because we did. You guys might remember. I think like when the game first launched, was it like the first Toyota series? I think they ever did, and one of the races was Suzuka in the GT500 Supra, the Castrol Supra.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
That was
you couldn't overtake.
Very difficult. Yeah. It was so hard.
It was one at a time.
Yep.
Yeah, qualifying order was the order the race finished in every time.
Yeah. So you make a good point. I hadn't thought about obviously how hard it is to pass at Suzuka. So it's a good pickup.
Very famous track, but not the best for racing. A lot of the time, which is a shame because I really like it.
Especially at the top level as well, when everyone on the track is like they've optimized it so well, so that the differences between drivers are like a matter of a tenth per lap or something. You're not going to overtake someone if you're only a tenth quicker than them. Especially at Suzuka, like that first sector, you're not getting past at all.
So the grand final of the GT Cup was Fuji in the GR10. There's a couple of things that happened in this race, if you guys might remember. So the big thing was there was a massive incident at turn 1. So there was an incident every race. There's a big crash at turn 1. Well, not a big crash, but everyone bunched up. They were like 3 or 4 wide. And Maulana, who was a new name that a lot of us hadn't heard before, he had a bug or an issue with his equipment as well. And he ended up parked at turn 1 at the first time they went around. So lap 1, and he had to get booted out the race after being. I think he started third. I think he started the grand final third. So that was a real shame as well. So do you know if that was the same rig as well?
I think not. No.
Maybe not.
I think it wasn't.
Might have been a different thing. Wow. So more than one.
I don't remember, to be honest, but
That's all right.
So they were down to 11, and obviously we saw Igor just run away with that race.
Yeah.
I think 16 seconds, which was unbelievable. He was helped a lot by Dino, and I think it was
Dino,
fighting a lot. Yeah. Oh no, that doesn't sound good.
But obviously we race. We have to race, and I know what Dino wanted or tried to do, but I don't know if it is worth it. Yeah, you're ahead. You're trying to overtake people. You're with. If I'm not mistaken, he was in with soft tires when he was ahead and trying to hold everyone. Or
yeah, so
I
he was
don't
on,
remember.
he started on
Yeah,
softs and
something like that. Yeah, and trying to overtake people, but at the end, it doesn't look good. It is not the smartest thing you can do.
Yeah.
He got ahead and clear, but then he got a 1 second penalty because he must have pushed his way past, I think. And then he
can do everything.
them.
Yeah, you can do everything like that, but it doesn't look good, you know?
No. Yeah, so they had a hard time, and Igor dropped them really easily. I think he was 10 seconds ahead before his first pit stop. And then the hard runners who were back a bit further, so there was Killian, who was obviously a big name at this World Finals. Everyone expected big things from him. And Sasaki, who was your Porsche teammate. Down in that hard pack, and he ended up coming through and overtaking Baptiste on the last lap for third place, and he got a podium. So that must have filled Team Porsche with confidence, seeing one of your team members P3 in what is essentially a massive championship, global championship there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he was pretty happy with the result, and well, we had to race 2 days after that, and he got pretty confident. We with Jose as well. So but anyway, that's the next topic we are gonna talk about, the Malfactor series, and it hurts a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure. Wow. Yeah, on that day, I'm sure you would have felt good seeing Sasaki doing so well. You guys had a really good Porsche team going into this event. Jose, yourself, and Takuma, who has really come up onto the scene lately. He's been really, really fast. I think he was only just 18 for the World Finals as well, wasn't he?
Yes, I think so. So I think it. Well, actually, not that I think it is a fact that we got the most powerful team Porsche of the previous years. I think
the best team you've ever put forward.
So it hurts more thinking about it.
Yeah. and all the things that happen as well. Well, we'll get into that now because that's obviously our next point of conversation. Yeah. So, Team Porsche in the Manufacturers Series. Obviously you guys had a great team put forward. So you obviously lost Connor and replaced him with Takuan, who was definitely one of the world beaters over here in the Asia Oceania for a while. So you started off at Deep Forest. And you started on pole. How did they decide? There was a qualifying session, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And you guys managed to put it on pole.
Exactly. That was Jose doing the qualification. And he did a perfect lap.
Wow. Yeah, he's so good.
We three agreed. No, you Jose, you have to do the qualification lap. You do your thing, and that's it. And he did it.
So one of the things that was talked about pre Gran Turismo 7's release was the rather extensive redesign of the Deep Forest circuit. Obviously, there's a lot different between the last time it was in a game versus now. And one of the things that we've noticed too is that driving it forwards and driving it in reverse, it feels like two completely different tracks. Like it just flows completely differently.
Yeah.
Which do you prefer? Like, is the reverse one the better, or are they just trying to throw you guys curveballs by going, hey, here's the unorthodox one?
I really hate the reverse ones. But the turn one, for example, is I don't know what kind of turn is that. Oh man, you have to brake while you're turning. Actually, with the 911, the car has a weird behavior mid corner in turn one. So if you lift, you lose the rear. So it's such a weird feeling.
We saw when we like the Deep Forest.
Was there overlaying into turn one with the like you were blending the throttle and the brake into turn one there?
Just as soon as you lift the brakes, you go as soon as possible on the throttle, so you don't lose the rear. Actually, that happened to me on the pit exit. I lost the rear, and then I was like, I don't know, drifting through turn one.
It's so hard when the car starts doing that. I personally hate that. Yeah.
The only thing, like, it's also really hard. Sorry, Adam. It's also really hard when you've got pit traffic. So, like, if you're coming into turn one and there's someone ahead of you coming out of the pit, and of course the racing line is where the pit exit blends. So hairy moments to be had.
The other thing that I find with some of those Group 3 cars is, like, if you're turning a bit and you, like, go hard on the brakes, the rear can start sliding. It's like there's too much rear brake bias, but because you can't change it under BOP anymore, you know, some cars are going to be, like, just simply harder to get through there because of that slight
You just got to work with the characteristics.
You just got to work with it, yeah. Like, because obviously if the car was doing that and you could change the brake bias, you'd just flick it forward a couple of clicks, but you can't do that.
We saw at the Deep Forest GT World Series combo that we had recently for just the exhibition. Andrew Lee, who you'll obviously know from kind of the world standings over here in Aussie, he was driving the Ferrari for the GT World Series season, which is obviously a crazy choice. He just wanted to do something different, and he was sliding the car into turn one like he was completely sideways before he would plant the foot. Every lap after lap, even in the race, not worrying about tyre wear.
I didn't know he was a masochist. I didn't know that.
Pain, yeah, I know.
He's probably listening too. Hi, Andrew.
He wouldn't.
So why pick him Ferrari? Why?
Just wanted a challenge, man. He's too good. He won top split with that car as well. Or top split. Not a
that was insane, actually.
Talking about that car, it reminds me about the combo, the regional final in Austria, the Daytona with the Ford GT. You had to brake and throttle at the same time, you know. Otherwise, you lose the rear. It was such a mess, man. And you had to go through the chicane with such a delicate throttle input, braking input, steering input.
Every lap.
It was crazy.
Sounds
every lap.
This is why I don't drive MR cars. I can't.
Yeah, I've been
if you find MRs so difficult, like you don't like the Ferrari and you don't like the Ford GT, why do you drive the Porsche? You've always driven for Porsche. So
because I like it. I like Porsche, and
that's well.
Yes, but actually, the car is between the whole MR categories. I would say it's the easiest because it doesn't behave like the Ferrari, for example, or like the Ford GT. It's a little bit how can I say it? Better to drive. That's it. Yes.
Yeah.
And I like it.
More stable, right?
Yes.
I'm told that the Porsche is like the most stable of the MR cars.
Yes,
for sure.
It is.
I've had a thought. I've had a thought about that. I was actually thinking about this the other day. I wonder if I guess I'm more so talking about the real-life Porsche RSR, and maybe this translates into the game. I wonder if the engine in the back of the Porsche is, like, lower down than maybe it is in the Ferrari, because you see the Ferrari, or you see Ferraris, like, in real life, you look through the glass in the top, and the engine is, like, just there. I wonder if the engine in the Porsche is, like, set down more lower down, and maybe that helps. Maybe that helps with some of that weight transfer.
That's
but
probably,
I don't know.
So getting back onto track about the Deep Forest race, obviously going into it, Subaru and Toyota were actually tied on points, so they were both not necessarily the favourites, but everyone was keen to see how they resolve themselves.
A lot of people expected big things from those two cars, didn't they?
Oh, they're always going to be the strong choices. They are always going to be strong. Subaru only managed to qualify 6th, so straight away they were on the back foot. It doesn't mention where did Porsche start on that one? Just remind me.
Pole.
They were pole. No, sorry, stupid Nathan. Yeah, so straight away.
Respect, man. Come on.
and where did the Toyota start? Because Subaru was 6th,
P2, I think.
Porsche was first.
Yeah.
So straight away, Subaru was on the back foot, and that obviously being the eventual winner. Spoiler alert. But what was that race like for you then? We've heard your thoughts about the track. What was that particular race like?
It was perfect. I mean, every stint with the Sasaki stint, Hoso's stint, my stint was completely perfect, I would say. Yes. That was why we won like for 5 seconds.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was
4
a big gap.
seconds.
I think it might have even been 6.
6.9. 6.9.
6.9. Okay.
Yeah, and clean air the whole race too.
Yeah. I've got a question, right? So you started off pole. So what was the decision like to start on mediums from pole position instead of like? Because I guess you'd ask the average person and they would say, "Oh, well, you'd start soft." So why mediums? I'm just curious.
Nice question, because I don't remember.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Just made it up.
No, I can't, literally can't argue with that.
That's perfect, right?
Yeah.
Did you have to, for a race like that in the dry, you have to tell the organisers the order of the drivers, right? And your tyres picked and stuff. So your strategy is set in stone before you even start the race, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that the case?
It is.
Really?
Yeah, we all had to say the driver order, and that's it. But obviously the tire choice is up to you just before the race starts.
Okay,
Right.
so you decide the tyres last minute, but your order is set.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So is there a big discussion that goes around which driver does the stint on a particular tyre?
How did you guys decide
obviously,
that?
you needed to use all three. So, like, were you always going to be the soft driver, or was that kind of?
Well, it all depends
decided last
on.
minute? Yeah, okay.
It all depends on the tire choice. You know, if you feel comfortable with hard tires, for example, and you know that the car or the strategy that better suits the car combo and the combo itself, it's gonna be like on the last stint, then you're gonna be the third driver. That's it.
Yeah, okay.
If you feel comfortable with the soft tires, you'll be on the first or second stint. That's it.
Have you ever had a situation where two people on your team wanted the same tyre? Or has it always been a fairly easy discussion in your experience?
No problems at all on every race I had. Yeah.
Nice.
No.
So you
Yes,
don't.
exactly.
So you don't really have a preference, because we talked to Cy Bishop, Simon, a couple months back now. I think he was our first guest. And he talked about how little he likes driving medium tyres. Doesn't matter what the car is, he just hates the medium tyres. So you don't subscribe to that? You're pretty comfortable in anything?
Yeah, because at the end, to be a complete driver, you have to race and to be good enough with every race tire. So it doesn't matter at the end.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, I agree that you have to be able to master every part, and I've always talked about. Going into looking at the World Finals, they could throw you any car in the Nations Cup, for example, to drive, that you could drive anything, as we see across the different regional finals as well. Different cars, different tracks, different combos completely, and I've always looked at when a race comes up in the GT World Series online season, I look at it and I go, I don't like that car, I don't like that track, I don't really want to do it. I say to myself, if you can't be the best in that car, as well as every other car, then do you really deserve to be a world champion if that's kind of the goal, and like I'd love to compete at the top level, and I think if I want to compete at the top level, I have to be able to take on the challenge of every different car, and obviously in this case every different tyre. So yeah, I agree. I think that's definitely something that people need to consider on the competitive side.
It's a good point too, because I'm completely guilty of this. I often will look at a calendar and go, nah, I'm not doing that combo. See you later. Okay. So that Deep Forest race obviously went pretty swimmingly for the Porsche team. Well, I suppose race number 2 was a difficult affair.
Oh, God.
At Spa.
We have to talk about it.
Circuit de Spa, Francorchamps in Group 3. 30 laps with some inclement weather. So, yourself, Porsche, once again, started on pole. Was that, the starting position of that race, was that determined by the Deep Forest result?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, you started on pole, and you started inters. Did you guys know what the weather was going to be like, or did you just see a semi-damp track and you're like, we'll start inters and see what happens?
Well, we saw the track and we decided we started on intermediums. But, well, actually, we had a practice previously.
Oh, okay.
A little practice, just like it was 10 or 15 minutes. You could test what the weather was gonna be like, but we actually didn't know anything. What was going to happen after that, So what was gonna be the weather at 1 hour of race, for example, to say a number? We didn't know anything. So yeah, we saw the how the weather was like at the start of the race, and we decided to go with intermediums.
Right, and you guys, I think Toyota were the only team that didn't choose intermediates. They went on the wets. Did that hurt them a little bit, or do you think they managed to get through okay on that first stint?
I think they managed pretty well. Yeah,
They did okay, eh?
Yeah, yes.
It got real interesting, that race. So, I believe it would have been... Who started for you guys? Was it Takuan?
Yes.
Yeah, so he started on the intermediates, and when it started drying out, you guys pitted onto hards. What lap was that?
Exactly.
Was that lap 9? 8?
Lap 9.
Lap 9? I think it was lap 9. So,
Probably.
and obviously we have to talk about it. What happened on lap 11?
Oh.
Sorry, Angel.
You guys were leading. What'd you have? 4, 5, 6 seconds, I think it was.
Yeah.
About the same as what you had at
I
Deep
was
Forest.
pulling away, So I was trying to. I mean, I knew that the track was drying, but yeah, the curves were really slippery. So in my head, I was okay. I have to push to try to pull away, but not too much. And I don't know. I lost probably half a second in my concentration, and I touched the curve on the outside, and yeah, it made me spun and hit the wall. Everything. It could have been better if there wasn't a wall there, But I crashed right into it, and
We had damage.
it was
too,
all a
did you?
mess. Yeah, damage.
Oh, man.
Everything. Actually, I panicked and put reverse and almost destroyed the other guys.
There was a little bit of contact on the way through.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was like,
man.
oh shit! I need to do something. I messed it up.
Panic stations.
It's
have
always
to
those-
up,
it's always those instinctive moves that are really hard, because it's heat of the moment. It's especially being in such a dominant position initially. It's like you get back on that track, but it's
The best example I can give you is like the Super License 10 with the Porsche. Another Porsche.
I actually drove that
you-
today on my old account. I just tried to have a
It's
go at it
so
again.
hard.
Feel it was
It's so
light.
hard, man.
You put one tire even marginally on the outside curb, and the car just spins.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And we
that's
saw-
the thing. They gave us the Monaco final in that form of the little exhibition season. So like we all got a chance to try it, and I'm obviously nowhere near the level of driver that you are, but I can attest just how easy it is. You just put one tire on the edge of the track, and that's it. You got no hope, especially like in that. I guess just at the end of the crossover period, so the edges are still so wet, but it's good enough on the line, on the racing line for the hard. So
The curbs
I
stay
can
wet
attest
for a
just
long
to how
time.
easy it is.
The curbs stay wet for ages, and that line through the X corner it's so natural to put two tires on that outside curb before you go in. It's really hard to train your mind to stay on the tarmac only for that corner.
Exactly.
Because it closes it up.
That's
the underrated killer
the
at
hardest.
Spa 24.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say the underrated killer at the Spa 24 circuit is the pit exit, because obviously, like you
that's
say, the
wet.
crossover bit, when you put the slicks on and you go out, and the pit is still wet, so yeah, you just have to basically tiptoe that. Once you're on the dry stuff, you can bury the throttle.
And the
battery
pedigree as
saw
well,
that through,
did the same
we
thing.
saw that through the demo event, where people would just come into the pits, put the hards on, they'd come out, and then they just loop it at the first, first throttle input. So,
So you guys weren't on the 24-hour, were you, at the World Finals? It was just the standard Spa
It was
layout? It was the 24? I think it was
24. No, it was
Might have been
the
20.
no,
It
was 24.
No, it
yeah.
was the normal
Was it?
one. Was the
Normal?
one.
Oh shit! I don't remember anything. Oh god, my mind is I don't know.
No, it was.
I think it was the short one.
Yeah. Well, we say short.
Because
but
I
yeah,
remember Igor pitting out. I'm sure I saw what happened when Toyota came out. They had like a moment on the wet, and then it was just straight to the dry. But yeah, did you go to hards early enough? You guys were one of the first to come in, weren't you?
Yeah. I mean, the how can I say it? The water level, the thing
moisture.
you got in there.
Yeah.
That thing. You know when to put hard, and that's it. It's like you know the track is dry or the racing line is kind of dry, and you have to put hard or racing tires. Actually,
But they changed the rules for driver changes as well in that grand final, didn't they? So you could recycle your drivers through. You just had to always change it every time you pitted. Is that right?
in the same order. Yes.
On the same order as well.
On the same order, yes. So if the driver number 3 pits, then the next driver it needed to be the first one.
Yeah. Okay. So you took the gamble of Takuma having to get a second stint in if you had to pit for a third time, right? So that was kind of the decision making there.
Yes.
Yeah.
What did for Toyota because they pitted an extra time because they chose like the wrong tires for that last stint.
There was a couple of weird things at the end. Intermediates to wets, I think people went.
Yeah. So they had to swap back to Fraga, right?
Yeah.
For that last pit stop.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Well, Toyota started the race on full wets. They were the only ones that actually started the race on the full wets. So, Porsche got to get away basically, and then Toyota was pretty much the cork in the bottle. You had like Mercedes and all of them trying to sort of fight their way through, but they sort of made a bit of a klutz of the strategy, but. The thing about it is, if it had paid off, they would have been the biggest superheroes because no one else was doing it. So it's just part of the gamble.
So how did you find the Porsche compared to other cars in the wet? Was it quite strong?
Yeah, it was. Probably not the best. From what we saw on the practice session, the Subaru was the fastest.
Yeah, I found that really interesting.
Yeah, then the Supra and then us.
Right.
I don't know why. Never an FR car was the best on wet conditions.
Nor the best.
It was like that.
Yeah. It was interesting because I when I watched that final, the person I was watching out for was Matthew McEwen from New Zealand, he was driving for Honda. And because he's obviously from my country, I was watching it going, like, looking at him, looking at where he was the whole time, and I was missing a lot of the other action because I was so focused on that. And Honda, they came up quite far through the field, I think. I think they were like 9th or 8th, and they came up to like 5th and 4th during, I think, that first stint. And that was that. I was sitting there going, oh, looks like the MR cars are doing really well in the wet. So was that not the case for that final? Was there a lot of competition from Toyota, Subaru, and Mercedes? I think were quite strong as well.
I don't remember how fast was the Mercedes, but yeah, the Subaru and the Supra were easily the fastest.
Yeah, that Subi was I think it was just really light, and its turn-in was so good that it just must have been strong. Was it it was a different bop to what we would normally get online, wasn't it?
Yeah, actually the Porsche got nerfed.
Oh no!
Yeah,
I
1% of power.
I didn't know that.
Wow, it's already
you guys
a straight line, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I think the Honda got a nerf as well. I heard from Matthew or maybe that was an actual nerf before the event. I think they lost a 1% of power as well, but I can't quite remember. But yeah, you handed off after the hard stint. It started raining again, and you guys put the intermediates back on, and Jose got in the car. And then I seem to remember you guys were on the intermediates for a lot longer than everyone else. Is that's what happened, wasn't it?
Yeah, and actually, putting the intermediates at the end, it wasn't the best choice, I think. But yeah, we didn't know what was the weather at the end of the race. We didn't know anything because you got the radar, but you see like I don't know the color, but it is gray. If it is light rain, then it turns to blue or something like that. If it gets, but you know. We thought, or I thought, intermediate was going to be the best, and actually it was on the first half of the stint. But yeah, at the end, the rain was crazy, and the wet tires were the best.
And did you end up going on to the wets at the end? Or did you stick out the intermediates all the way?
Yes, we stick to intermediates.
Yeah, because I still in it at that point, I think.
Yeah, but it didn't matter if we pitted for wet tires because we were like third place or something like that. It would have been even worse than compared to Toyota. You know,
sometimes
that's what's
good old fashioned track position will always be better than a pit loss. Yeah,
I guess it's just weighing up.
Really late. Yeah,
it's just weighing up. I guess how much time you'd lose from pitting versus just sticking on maybe not quite the optimal tyre. So, how long was the pit loss there, if you remember?
Would have been about 25.
If it was the same
30
as the
seconds, I guess.
Yeah.
25, 30 seconds. Yeah, we know that Spa has probably one of the longest pit stop times. So pitting again would have hurt even more.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah. It's just kind of cutting your losses at that point.
And that's exactly it. That even if you are on but if you're on the intermediates, you're never going to, if you pit for the heavy wets, you're never going to get all that time back.
Unless people crash, that's all you can hope for. After the race was all over and kind of Team Porsche came together after it was all done, and you guys would have all talked about it a little bit. Did the guys say anything about the incident in your stint or anything about the rest of the race, or was everyone just it happens?
I mean, the first thing I said was sorry, guys. Obviously, but nothing happened.
That's
they told me.
Good team there.
And that's all you can say, really. It's what I don't, not what I don't like, but one of the things that you got to be careful about with the World Tour drivers is just remembering that they're human. Like, they're the best. They're the best in the business, but they still make mistakes. You can't just. Fraga could absolutely bin it at a moment's notice.
We've seen him pick the wrong tyres in a pit stop, even.
Actually, Mercedes and Subaru did a spin as well.
Mercedes,
but Mercedes they didn't crash into the wall.
I was actually
so they didn't lose too much time.
The other thing too, like you mentioned it before. There was only 15 minutes of practice before that. Before the race?
15 or something like that to test the weather, but practice, we got other practice session before that. So if I'm not mistaken, it was like 1 hour or something like that. We get
still a fairly short amount.
It wasn't enough for you to completely set out your strategy, was it?
No.
It
was like I don't know, Jose. Yeah. So it was like also testing soft tires, for example, or me testing wet tires and telling each other that, you feel comfortable with this tire, then you must go on this stint and stuff like that. So that's it for the practice.
Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, it was obviously a disappointing result in the end. You guys would have gone in with such high hopes. As far as the team goes, did you guys have any trouble with the language barrier? Because I don't know if Sasaki speaks any English. Did you guys manage to converse with him easily?
Well, he speaks probably 5 words in English.
Oh,
so it was hard. Yeah, but everything we told him, I don't know how, but he understood.
I suppose he would probably, within the context, like he would understand if you say soft, medium, hard, like he knows
exactly
what you mean. So you could just say hard or whatever. Yeah.
In Japanese, I'm pretty sure the word for the hard tire is very similar to the English word.
Right. Okay.
I think it's hardle, so it's basically the same word. It'd be difficult to mix that up. The only other notable events of that race, I think, were Mazda had a couple of crashes. They were getting really racy, and they had that moment where they went off at, I can't remember what the corner's called. It's the downhill right-hander before X. And they did like 10 spins on the way to the wall. They were just spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning.
Did they ever?
Like Volkswagen.
Wasn't Volkswagen? Yeah, They were like doing tandem pirouettes with Volkswagen.
It was hilarious. Jimmy couldn't contain his laughter for that one. He was laughing at it happening. Speaking of Jimmy, he had you pick the whole weekend. Angel, did you hear about that? He was really keen for you to do well.
Yeah, actually, I was talking to him about what I could do in the Grand Final of Nations Cup. And he was rooting for me.
He was rooting for you from the commentary box. We could all hear it, and it made me root for you as well because, like, just the way the story built up. And we'll get into that now. You know, Nations Cup. We'll start with the regional final. So you had the F1500 Formula car at
McLaren.
Oh, was it the McLaren?
It was the
MP4. It was the McLaren.
Yeah.
And that was at Interlagos. And you had a pole to win, so a clear run for the whole way. How did that feel for you?
Oh, perfect! Absolutely awesome to be the America's champion and everything.
Of course.
Even though I struggle with the medium tires a lot, so actually, Igor was catching me at the end. You know,
I think I saw that, and I was sitting there, and I was listening to Jimmy and was saying, "Come on, you just got one more lap to go. It's so close." It was great.
It was completely different. Well, I don't know if it was the car or the tires, but it felt completely different from what I practiced.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. And then I spoke to Igor, and he told me, no, I didn't practice with the medium tires, for example. So he actually he didn't know how the car was going to behave. I did know. I noticed the difference, and it was harder to me to adapt again. You know.
Yeah.
I wonder if maybe he put more time into the grand final practice because he might have just known that he would have qualified. You know.
I don't know. Actually.
Yeah, sometimes people do that. They sacrifice the qualifying races because you don't necessarily have to win to qualify, do you? So as long as you can be, within the threshold, you can just.
And there was a whole qualifying session for the grand final as well, so it didn't matter where you finished.
Exactly.
You just had to get through. And speaking of those, so we had the Eastern Regional Final, so that's Asia Oceania, and they were driving the old Ferraris at Watkins Glen. And we also had the EMEA final, which was the Lambo VGT at Monza. Now, if you had to choose, Angel, which one of those combos would you pick? Would you stay with the McLaren at Interlagos, or would you rather one of the other ones?
I will stay with the McLaren. Yes.
Happy with what you got. You got the win, right? No reason to change.
Really complain.
I've got an interesting question regarding that. Should those 3 races, should the combinations for the regional finals, should they have been the same combo, do you think?
No.
No? Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I say they shouldn't be the same because, entertainment-wise, you see all these different cars, different tracks.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's the entertainment value. Exactly.
But you might feel hard done by if you're really good in a high downforce car and there's a high downforce race in one of the other regional finals, and you're in a road car. And you'd be like, oh, I would have done so much better in the high downforce race, but I couldn't because it wasn't my region. So
I guess that circles. Yeah.
So you got to be the best in everything if you wanna be good at the world finals, because you're just going to be thrown in there, and you don't get a choice.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
Yeah, and actually, it was so sad to see EMEA with that combo. I don't know why they bully them so much. I mean, PD always put them the worst possible combos, you know?
Oh dear.
It's because
Lambo looked like fun, but Monza.
I drove that Lambo VGT because obviously they made the daily race A the following week, the EMEA final. It was the Lambo VGT at Monza, and like I gave that race a couple of goes. That Lambo is, I mean, once again, I'm not quite the level of driver that actually participated in the event, but that Lambo it's a weird car to drive. He's just got like all this acceleration and all this power, but then like the suspension is very soft for the type of car. So like going through Curva Grande, turn 3, like you can change gear and the car can get a little wiggle on as the weight shifts around, and it's like it's not a very nice car to drive, really.
And
lucky it was at Monza.
No,
Lucky
especially
it
at
was
Monza, yeah.
But, well, lucky it was Monza because there's not as much like track undulation.
Oh yeah,
because if you got unsettled over a little crest in that car, you'd be gone.
Imagine Lambo VGT at Watkins Glen.
Watkins Glen, Trial Mountain, over the first S's.
Deep Forest Reverse.
Yeah.
The race A was in the McLaren P1 GTR recently. And,
at Monza.
That was pretty fun. That was a pretty fun race.
That looked alright.
That's a really, really fun car.
Yeah.
Yes.
Much better
Yeah, I
choice
like
of
the
car.
P1 GTR.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not allowed to say that,
back
Angel. You're only allowed to compliment the Porsches.
Just going back to that McLaren MP4 at Interlagos, what was how did you go with the double shifting? So, like, I've seen some players, they will go, they'll exit onto a straight and go from third straight to fifth.
It was like the radical.
Straight to sixth. Yeah. So
you had to do that.
Yeah, you had to. Okay.
Well, shifting in a normal way, gear after gear, you lose like a whole second, or maybe 1.5 seconds. You know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
You got turbo lag, so the car doesn't want to, or it takes too long to get into the power, to the top of the power. So you had to do double shifting.
You just had to do it. No choice.
Yes, no choice. Otherwise, you would have been really, really slow.
Because it's obviously not behaviour you'd see like in real life, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Should it be something that they should look at and go, we need to try and fix it? Polyphony Digital, I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think so.
Should they look at that and go, look, this looks a bit silly. We should try and fix the turbo or fix the gear ratios or whatever to try and make sure it's not faster to double shift?
I'd say they'd want to lock you out of the following gear. So not allow you to quickly shift to a second gear within a certain time period. The only issue that I can see arising from that is like in the Nissan GDR 2013 Group 3, for example, at a corner like Deep Forest Turn 1 in the forwards layout, you'd go down to first gear to get around the corner, and then you'd want to go to third gear for the power, which is it's pretty reasonable. Like, it's not totally ridiculous to see that sort of thing, but you do have to go up 2 gears really fast, and if they were to lock you out of that second gear, it would make that car way worse. But obviously for the McLaren, with the double shifting system they have, it would make much more sense to lock you out, so they'd have to find a way to do it for some cars and not others, or some scenarios and not others.
Actually, I just had another thought as well.
Easy thing. Oh no, yep.
Oh, I was going to say with that McLaren, like in real life, for example, it's got a H pattern, so you feasibly could go second, clutch, bang into fourth for more power. Like you could skip the gear that way.
Yeah, it's got the right idea.
So I suppose feasibly it is actually not that bad, but it looks, I guess, because you're using the paddle shift as you go bang bang. That's a bit weird.
Yeah. But I mean,
that's
in real life, you'd probably tune the gearbox to suit. You wouldn't end up with a gearbox that requires that.
Yeah.
You didn't see Senna doing that kind of thing. You know?
No, never.
No,
course
that's
not.
true. That's true. That's probably an interesting thing to get your opinion on, Angel. What do you like? Do you use the H pattern shifter at all? Like, obviously, you can't for the GTWS stuff, but do you
Yeah,
use
you
it at
can't,
all just
but-
for fun? Or
For fun, yes. Sometimes I pick a car in Nürburgring and I don't know.
yeah.
I use it with
Nürburgring.
A real driver's track.
the shifter?
Exactly.
Do you reckon they should?
Just for fun.
Do you reckon they should bring back the shifter?
It was a problem because
No.
it was too fast, wasn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
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 To
No,
make
that's
things
fair,
fair,
that's fair.
no, not at all.
Yeah.
It
What
should be
if,
stay like it is.
But what if it was a car like the MP4 that was an H pattern car in real life?
I think still because of the delay
Oh,
that you
yes.
get from the paddles, it's too much of a
Yeah.
problem, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they just do it to be
Yeah.
fair. As much as most people would probably love to do GT World Series with their H pattern that they spent money on, for a lot of people, you know, you just can't allow it for the sake of being
From
fair.
an esport point of view, you have to set everything so you get fair races. So there can be someone with an H shifter and someone with paddle shifters. That's gonna be a lot of time difference in terms of the speed. You know.
You'd also feel hard done by as well if you got this setup and it's like a really good setup, but you can't quite afford a shifter, and if it ends up being a second and a half slower per lap, you're going to feel like, well, that's not fair. I can't afford a shifter, and now I'm really off the pace here. So I suppose, in that sense,
we don't want it to become pay to win. Yeah, exactly.
No,
yeah.
We'll move on to the Monaco Grand Final. So a big long race. Was it 30 laps? 35?
30.
It was 30. It was 30.
Yeah.
So X2019 at Trial Mountain, very much like the Austria Grand Final, but in the opposite direction. So do you think, having had a crack at that, the one in Austria, the opposite direction, do you think that helped you a little bit, or do you think it didn't really make a difference?
It didn't make a difference at all.
Nah.
Not at all. Nah. It's a complete different track. You know.
Do you like the X2019?
Hard to say. It's hard to say. At the beginning,
some people love
I
it.
hate
Some
it.
people hate it. Yeah.
Well, at the beginning, I hate it. You know, but when I did some laps, it was quite good because you have to be really, really soft or be precise with the throttle.
Yeah.
And that makes it a fun car. Yes.
Yeah, challenging to drive, and we've talked about this before. It's kind of the holy grail, the be-all, end-all of Gran Turismo 7 or Gran Turismo Sport, Gran Turismo 7. The World Finals and the Grand Finals are always in this car. So to be a world champion, you have to be good in this car, which is a really interesting concept. But I think they picked the right car for it because it's a good challenge, but it's good enough that they've dialed it so that the dirty air is not as much of a problem as the X2014 was, because that obviously had a lot more downforce. Do you think the dirty air was acceptable at the World Finals, or did they change it for you guys?
They changed it.
They did?
Yeah. They changed it.
So what was different?
Quite easy to follow another car.
Okay. Was the slipstream just as strong? It was good to 1 second, and then...
Yes, the slipstream didn't change. Just the Tyre,
So the dirty air just didn't affect you quite as much.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
There must be a separate setting for that then.
I noticed that
They
too.
must have control over it.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but the Daytona race that we've just recently done in the 787B, the slipstream, because in the game, right, just if you wanted to start up a lobby for any reason, your slipstream settings, you've got, heavy, light, and real. I think those are the three options.
Yeah, real, weak, and strong.
Yeah,
that's the one. The slipstream settings for that Daytona race was listed as custom.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Really?
And
I don't think anyone picked up on that, but I was going through the details because I only started practicing for it on like Tuesday, and we were racing on Wednesday, and and it was like slipstream settings was custom, and I was like, well, what does that mean? what is that?
I
And
thought the slipstream was so weak there as well.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as effective, you think?
Yeah, no.
It was
I believe
good. I'm just trying to remember what it was good to. It was about, because again, the 787B is a very quick car. It was, like 0.6.
I found you needed to be like 3/10 behind someone in order to get a move done at the end of those long straights at Daytona. That's what I found personally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
No, but it's something that nobody seemed to talk about it. Nobody seemed to pick up on it, but I noticed it, and I was like, I wonder what that means, and
You're an observant gentleman, Nismo.
Yeah. So the grand final in the X 2019, and with custom dirty air to make it a bit better for racing, which it did turn out to be. So you started Angel in P3 after the qualifying session, and that was ahead of Igor. Were you expecting to out-qualify Igor? Do you think he made a mistake in his qualifying session?
I don't know exactly. I was trying not to watch the qualifier. the qualifier.
Because you were the second to last person to set a lap, I think.
Yes.
And he was the only one after you. So you started behind Miyazono and Koke, is that right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And you started on the medium tyres.
Yes.
So what was your strategy plan? Had you laid it all out? You knew exactly what you were getting yourself into?
I knew what strategy I was going to use, but in practice, all the drivers realized that there were some changes in tire wear. I mean, even it was the same multiplier, there was a little bit less tire wear. So the strategy changed completely,
So you just put a few more laps on the soft stint.
Exactly. I was planning to do, let me remember. It was 10 mediums, then 4 laps on hards, and then the rest 16 laps or 2 8-lap stint with soft,
Yeah.
And then we realized that the tire wear was a little bit less, and I figured it out, and I thought about it. I had to do more laps with softs, and I made a little big mistake on the race. I should have done like 11 laps with mediums, then 1 lap with hards instead of 4.
Yeah.
Then
the rest with softs.
Yeah.
And I ended up doing the opposite on the first stint. I don't know what came into my mind. What was I thinking? Because I did 9 laps with mediums.
Ooh.
9 instead of 11.
Wow.
Then I had to do 3 laps with hards, and the rest with softs. So I lost 2 seconds, or even more.
Imagine what would have happened if you hadn't done that. Oh.
Exactly.
What happened to the mediums? Were they just wearing out faster than you thought, or
no, nothing. I don't know what.
You just had a mind blank.
I don't know what.
Into the pit?
Yeah, exactly. And I thought, I need to pit on lap 9. And then after the race, I thought, why?
That's why.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know actually, but I got.
Oh man.
I don't know.
It's just heat of the moment, the pressure of being there.
Hey,
it's all understandable.
2020.
Yeah. So you had fairly clear air though, so you were all right. It didn't hurt you for track position anyway. It just meant that you did 2 less laps on the mediums, right?
Exactly. Yes, and 2 more laps with hards. So
yeah,
the minimum time I lost was 2 seconds or more.
Yeah. Yeah, those hards, they're not.
If I did everything correctly, I could have been 2 seconds ahead of Koke.
Yeah, and it all came down to it at the end. So obviously we all know the race ran its course, and then on the last time round, Koke and was it Miyazono as well? They both pitted at the same time, or was it someone else? It was Koke and Valerio was behind you, wasn't he?
It was.
Yes.
And Valerio I think
was trying to catch up to me, but he was burning the tires.
Yep. So it ended up, and it was amazing. It was amazing to watch. The pit exit, they came out and you were right there. It was like, oh, you couldn't ask for a better finale. And it always happens. Always with these finals in the X 2019, there's 2 or 3 cars and there's a pit stop on the last lap and they end up together and there's a grandstand fight to the finish, and it was amazing. Jimmy was losing his mind. He was so hopeful for you win the race,
and the drivers behind, and the people on the whole people behind were cheering up.
Oh man,
I heard that, and I heard that through the headphones, and I got nervous. And I don't know if you guys saw. I don't know if you guys watched it, but on turn 3, right at the exit, I nearly lost the car.
Oh, that's the before you go.
Did you notice that? Yes.
Yeah,
I nearly lost the car because I got a little bit nervous.
Oh man!
Do you get? I find when I get really nervous for a race, it's not so bad anymore because I've got it a little bit under control. But I used to get so nervous at the start of, like, particularly FIA back in GT Sport, where my leg would like shake, so I wouldn't be able to modulate the throttle correctly.
Yeah.
Also, you have to imagine
do you get that sometimes?
Sometimes. Yeah. Actually, in the previous years, I always got so nervous that I couldn't do my best. You know, that was I was
so bad it affects you.
I needed to work on that. And 2022 was the year that I think how can I say it? I improved on that thing.
I mean, it's experience, right?
It's a
the first couple of times you're learning what you need to do.
For example,
and how you deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. For example, in the qualified station, I never done that before in the previous years. I always got so nervous in one attack lap that I couldn't do my best, my lap, you know, my time. But this time it worked perfectly. Even though on the second sector of my lap,
there was a little mistake, wasn't there?
Yeah, I was purple, but I braked too late. And I lost the time there.
Jimmy saw that as well. He knew.
Yeah,
he was talking about it. He knew that just that little mistake cost you what might have been pole position. But you did great. You ended up P3, and you know it was enough. You know, to put you where you needed to be. So that final, you stepped the car out before you went uphill, and then it was you were behind Koke and Miyazono, or you were between them.
Koke was first, I was second, Miyazono was third.
That's right, and they were both on the hards, right?
Yes, I was on soft.
So everyone was on their feet in the arena. You could hear them. The atmosphere was crazy. And then with 4 or 5 corners to go, there was a couple of incidents in a row. So there was coming out of the tunnel. You were 3 wide. So what happened for that one?
You mean the second tunnel, right? Yeah, because you have the main straight. I was on the outside of Koke. I tried to go through the outside, and watching the replay, I think Koke pushed a little bit. Then Miyazono, then Miyazono just passed me, overtook me. I was third. Then I saw Miyazono pushing Koke to the wall, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna go through the inside and try to overtake them both. But that didn't happen, of course. Miyazono Miyazono spun. Koke went into the wall. I don't know how, but I managed to go through that incident, and then the last turn, Koke just bombed.
Yes.
So he came from quite far back as well. It was like 3 or 4 tenths.
More than 3 tenths.
Yeah. And he was on the hard tyres as well, so on the way into the tunnel. And no one expected it. No one expected it. He went for this dive. You weren't expecting it either, were you? And so you turned in like you were going for the apex. And then he was there. And there was contact. So he pushed you a little bit there, but you didn't go into the wall or onto the grass, did you?
No. Actually, he did push quite a lot. So, but actually, it's not noticeable on the stream. The camera angle is some. I don't know. You can't notice too much. You can analyze the whole movement, the whole move. But yeah, that was quite hard, and I didn't expect it at all.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't soft. Some people are that I had my rear tires on 10%, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. But yeah, that on corner entry and mid corner, the front tires are the ones that are working.
Have been faster. All
Exactly.
The time,
yeah. On the traction, on the turn exit, that's where I was going to suffer from my rear tires. But yeah, on the entry and everything else, I was going to be faster. But yeah, Koki with hard tires just dive bombed and pushed me out of my line and went through it. That's it.
Yeah.
And the stewards, they took a look at it, but in the stewards' eyes, it may be different to our opinions. They deemed it a fair move, didn't they?
Or racing incident.
Yeah.
Or racing incident, or they didn't penalise.
You want to know something? That
I
think
know
is correct.
I know what you're going to say.
Well, the first incident, the 3 wide, was the one that the stewards were investigating. Because you can see on the display, you can watch it on the display at the end of the race when we crossed the finish line. The three names of us appears on the display being investigated. That means the 3 wide.
Yes.
But the last corner, who knows?
Oh,
They didn't even watch
investigated it. They never investigated it at all.
And that makes it even worse, because if you are a steward and you're watching the grand final of the championship of a whole year, how do you not notice what is going to happen on the last turn?
Yeah,
especially one that gets such a big reaction from the audience too.
And it was glossed over.
They missed it.
They left it, I think, because they glossed over it, because as Koke was coming to the finish line at the very end, the graphic came up with the under investigation, and Tom Brooks over the commentary immediately said, "Oh, they're investigating the move," and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, they're investigating both the things that happened," But they never did. Yeah. They only investigated the first one, and that is
at least that's what I think. Because I talked with some, I don't know, with Toyo-san from PD, which is the right hand from Yamauchi-san, for example, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And I was telling him that why the stewards decided that, and well, to resume the thing, trying to understand what he tried to tell me. He meant everything about the 3 wide,
Right. You never even spoke about the last.
No, because he was telling me, all he told me was about the 3 wide. So that's why I think the stewards didn't even see the last turn.
Yeah,
that's a bit.
That's crazy.
Oh man, you think there'd be enough? You think there'd be enough people in there watching to go, hang on a minute, like even if they're investigating an incident already, right? The 3 wide, like even so, you think someone would pick up on, oh, hang on a minute, something else has happened here. Oh, we better lodge that.
Yeah, 100%.
That's a big thing to miss.
Yeah. I know the stewards are always gonna do their thing in the interest of letting the race finish as it finished. Like, the last thing they want to do is have someone cross the line in first place and then say, oh no, wait, you're actually in second. And then there's like all this, they were celebrating and then they're not celebrating, and it's all confusing, and the audience is like, oh, what's going on? So they don't want to do that. But in this instance, it looks like they should have, and it looks like they did the best they could to avoid investigating it at all, because they might have had to reverse the result.
I think
completely sidestep the thing.
And also the sad thing is that they decide everything, and we can't do anything. We can't.
Yeah, you're not even allowed.
We can't protest. We can't do anything.
If
You're not even allowed to lodge a protest.
Nothing.
No, if you're part of an incident that they're investigating, little tiny bit off topic, if you're part of an incident they're investigating, do you have an opportunity to speak to the stewards about your point of view, or it's just purely they look at replays and it's from there? Yeah.
We have nothing to do there.
No say at all.
Well, that's...
Yeah, and actually at the end...
There.
Yeah. And actually at the end, none of us were celebrating. No, neither.
Yeah.
Okay, or me.
Saw that on the stream. Yeah. It was a bit confusing. It was a bit.
Actually, I was waiting for the 3 wide investigation because I was assuming that the last corner was going to be penalized.
Of course.
And I was. I don't know. I was. How can I say that? Cheering Koke or I don't know. Oh shit! I didn't know how to say that, but I wasn't angry to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was waiting the 3 wide investigation because I thought, okay, they might probably penalize me because I was there. I don't know. But at the end, I saw on the screen no further investigation or something like that, and then they say Koki is the champion, and I got like, what?
Yeah.
Why?
Confused,
and I got mad.
Yeah.
And I got really mad. At that moment, I got really mad.
Yeah. Oh man.
Okay. Were you upset at the stewards or Koke, or a mixture of both,
50.
or 50-50?
Yeah.
I
talked about it a little bit with some
Koke?
people. Yeah. Did you talk to Koke?
Yeah, I talked to him. After the race, I told him, no, it's what I told is not against you or it's against the stewards. But at the end, getting home, I still kept thinking about it, and at the end, it is 50-50 because if he didn't make that move, nothing would have happened, and if the stewards didn't make that decision, nothing would have happened.
100%.
So it's 50-50.
I talked to some people about it afterwards, and I kind of said, in that situation where Koke was and for Koke's decision making, it's kind of he did the right thing for himself going for that move, because what he can say is, I go for a move, I take a risk, there's a good chance it's not the right thing to do, but I'll let the stewards decide. It's up to the stewards. If I don't go for the move, I'm second. If I go for the move, maybe I win, but maybe I get a penalty and just stay second. Nothing to lose. So he did what was best for himself, and it kind of, it all ends up, it should be all the blame put on the stewards if it should have been a penalty. I
believe
really think it should have been, and a lot of people agree.
I believe it should have. I wouldn't try that move in a race that I'm doing. I wouldldn't try that and bump someone out of the way and go, well, we'll see if I get a penalty. I just wouldn't be comfortable with that myself. Obviously, I've never been in the position. Yeah,
if you're professional, you
win. But
you need driving standards.
Being on the weaker tyre,
of course. Yeah.
It's sportsmanship, right? What is sportsmanship?
Yeah.
Exactly. You don't want to do things that make you look bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it ended that way.
With Lopez being, obviously he made the move for himself. The shoe on the other foot, Angel would have never seen him coming, nor would he have been looking. Like you said, that he took the corner as if there wasn't a car there.
It was so unexpected.
Purposely, it's not like you were purposely trying to block him or close the door or anything. You just absolutely had no idea he was there. Like, how are you supposed to guess that someone's going to dive bomb from that far back?
And actually, analyzing the last turn, if you watch the replay, you can see Koki going full speed into the apex, and then he hits me, and it's like he loses 100 kph,
Wow.
to make the apex. I mean, you can watch it, Yeah. But on the camera angle, it doesn't seem too heavy, too too hard.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Wow. And
Yeah,
so
that's-
after the race was all over, you guys had some time, and then you had a press conference, and
Oh.
you were asked about the race, I think, and you publicly called out PD. Did that feel real good? Do you stand by what you said? Do you think? Yeah.
Actually, I was thinking about other things as well that I could say, but at the end, I thought, okay, I'm gonna say this, and this should be enough to make it public to everyone that the stewards did something bad, and they need to be changed.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
all.
I can definitely say you were definitely not the only one that thought that. Like, I think a lot of people were watching that thinking, why wasn't that a penalty? That's a clear penalty. You'd probably get a penalty if you were using like the automatic in-game system as well. Like if you dived in, smashed someone out of the way, plus 4 seconds colliding with another car, it'd probably come up on your screen. If I jumped into Daily Race C and did that right now, it'd probably happen. So, yeah, you're definitely not the only one that had some ill thoughts towards PD there.
Did you hear back from anyone? Did you get told off for doing that or anything like that, or did they just let it go?
No, they let it go. Yeah.
Well, maybe they feel like maybe they did make a mistake, but they'll never publicly own up to it.
Yeah.
Actually, on the party after you always get to party after a live event.
Yep.
On the Sunday, you get to party with everyone, even the stewards. And I was approaching one of the Spanish commentators. Ooh. And I noticed a group of people that was right next to him. They were watching me, and I see them, and it was like, okay, I don't know why they are watching me or something, or looking at me. And so I approached to him to have a talk, and then he tells me, those are the stewards. They're looking at you.
So they heard you.
I love it. I love it so hard.
That's great. Yeah, they heard you. They know what you said.
That means it hurt. It hurt them. What I said. So it's. I liked it.
Can't argue with that. That's the result you want. Hey.
You definitely sent a message, and it was a message that was heard, and whether or not it gets acted upon, you've already made that statement. Like, people already know, and what happened. But I suppose going into the next one, you at least know that you have the capability to win.
Yeah, you came so close, man. Like that race was yours at the end of the day.
Yeah,
you're the people's champion.
If I didn't do the strategy mistake, nothing would have happened. To be honest. If I can do everything perfect, if I can stay calm, if I can do my quali lap as I did in the grand final, I think I can get a world championship win.
Yeah, that'll be.
You got to try hard. You got to try really hard for this year again. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I think you can do it. I'll be rooting for you.
Thank you.
I hope that happens. I really hope that happens.
Yeah.
Whether it's Porsche or whether it's Nations Cup, I think 2023 might be your year.
That'd be a fantastic story too. Like, coming off the back of the difficult end that was last year. Imagine bouncing back and coming back for the world champion spot. That's a story for the ages.
Yeah.
OK's had a similar story there, actually. Do you guys remember back in one of the older world was back when the likes of Cody Latkovsky was racing? There was a Sardinia A on GT Sport. They did a final of a world tour at Sardinia A in the X2019, and the battle was
that the first one? Like, I think that was just when the X2019 just got released, eh?
I can't remember because I wasn't actually racing at the time. I watched it in hindsight, but it was Fraga, Cody, and Koke in the race together, and it was last corner, last lap, and Cody drove into the. I think it was him. I think he drove into the back of Koke, or something happened, and Koke ended up in the grass, and he lost his chance to win the race. Yeah, Igor won in the end.
Yeah.
And Cody was second, and Koke missed out because he got pushed off the track. So, you know, he got pushed off and lost because of that, and now he's a world champion, obviously. Maybe because you've now been pushed off at the last corner of a finals race. It's your time now to be a world champion as well. Do the same.
The circle of life. The circle of life.
So you wanted to get into something else, didn't you, Smock? You had I've done all my Monaco prompts.
Nismo suggested it. Yeah. So yeah, obviously we've spoken about Monaco. That's a big topical piece of news. But I think it would be interesting to hear about, like, what's your, I guess, Gran Turismo career been like? When did you first start playing Gran Turismo?
Well, I started with GT4 when I was like, wait, I was 9 years old.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
PS2,
wow.
GT4. Oh man, all memories. Such a good game.
Simpler time.
Yeah.
None of this online crap, am I right?
Yeah, honestly.
Then when I was 15, I got my a PS3 and GT5, and I started playing there and playing online with the joystick and everything else. That was in 2012. Around that year, and then got a wheel, the Driving Force GT. That was my first wheel. I used it by a year, and I stopped playing GT with GT6 in 2014, and I didn't do or practice with or played with any other racing game until I got to GT Sport on Christmas 2018. You know,
wow,
that's the time when I got it. So 4 years in a row, doing nothing with racing games. Nothing, absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
No.
And so you started at the beginning of 2019, basically, for sport.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yes, and
you
I
were
practiced so hard.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
I got a win with
amazing.
10 months of practice. You know, that's
crazy, dude. Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
How did you adapt so fast? Like, was there you just sort of just started
natural
winning,
talent,
like,
man?
Was it
natural talent?
I've always thought about being a fast learner on everything. You know, so I think that's the biggest skill, I would say.
Yeah, it's huge.
It helps me not only in racing games or sim racing, in other stuff as well. And I don't know, school, college, or job at work or something like that. It helps a lot. So I had to practice a lot.
Sorry. I often talk about, like, a bit of an X factor in sim racing. Like, some people are just they find it so, you know, I guess easy is the wrong word, but I guess from someone looking at how someone can progress so quickly compared to another player, you know, there's something that some people just have that make them really good at anything in general, really. But, you know, it extends to sim racing too, because, you know, I think maybe a lot of people listening probably share a similar view upon it that I do. You know, I put all this effort in to, like, try and be the best that I can, iron out mistakes, and, like, I'm still a second and a half, 2 seconds off the lap time of some of the fast drivers, and it's just, like, I see that, you know, I know I'm trying the best that I can to get to where I race, and I'm satisfied with that, but there's just something that I don't quite have that the top drivers do, and I suppose you have that. You must have that. It's just incredible to see.
I think to be in a world tour or world finals grand final, you have to have that. You know.
Oh yeah,
you don't get
that.
there for
everyone
nothing.
there have got that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a remarkable talent.
Oh
going back to
insane.
GT Sport, because I actually fired up GT Sport for old time's sake last night and did a couple of daily races, and, like, in a retro, because obviously GT7 launched, and, you know, obviously we were getting used to the different physics and the feel of the game, but going back to GT Sport, the cars feel very, like, heavy. Like they've got a lot more sort of
more understeer
mass to
Understeer,
them.
yes.
Yeah. Like soft tires feel grippier, but like hard tires feel slipperier, and it's like they got a different mass about them. You can because
I feel like GT Sport was easier. Like it's a bit harder in GT7 now. It was even harder at the beginning, but then they dialed back the physics a little bit, and now it's it's manageable for a lot of people. But it's definitely more difficult than Sport was. I think.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people noticed.
Sport was probably more of the like. Not to say that there's ever been a Gran Turismo that's been sort of pick up and play. You know, like every Gran Turismo, you've got to obviously practice and get good, basically. But I think Sport was definitely the one that was most like that you could just pick it up, buy it for the whatever you get your disc or whatever, and just get straight into it. Like there was no lengthy grind.
It was just about the perfect blend of arcade and sim, right?
Yeah, because there was no like campaign mode obviously until late in the piece. It was pretty much just collect all the cars and go racing. You know, like just by doing the driver license test and stuff, it wasn't hard for you to have a Group 3 car, a Group 4 car. Obviously, they are the heroes of the game, and then you could hop into a daily race and away you go. You know, it was very. It wasn't hard to get into the online stuff, and I don't even think there was a requirement for the online. Was there? You could, provided you had a car, you could pretty much just jump in whenever. Yeah,
you just had to watch the videos. I think that was the only thing.
Oh, yeah, sportsmanship.
Yeah,
sportsmanship. Yeah. Okay. Well, we've heard about your Gran Turismo career now. What's your plan, Angel, 2023 and even beyond? This year, will you sign for Porsche again?
Always
Porsche?
Since I won with it in 2019. Always.
I love that as well, because there's not many people left that are, they're not manufacturer patriots anymore. You know, we always had the likes of Latkovsky, who was always Mercedes. And at one point, Fraga was always Toyota, but he's mixed and matched as well to other ones. There's not a lot of people who stick to one brand and one brand only, and I always want to be one of those people.
Loyal.
Yeah,
well,
brand
actually,
loyalty
on 2019, when I was first trying to qualify, I got Lexus.
You got Lexus?
But then, I got Lexus. But I couldn't qualify because I didn't have the level. So Dirico and Bonelli got ahead of me on the... Well, actually, I think that was Dirico that qualified for Tokyo, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. Yeah, it was Dirico. Yes, absolutely. And then I had to change the manufacturer. I had Subaru and Porsche in mind. I analyzed both, and I chose Porsche. Even though in Subaru I had Mickey Sal. I could have had him as a teammate.
Because you would have been competing with Lamb, right? Or no, back then it was 5 regions.
Yes.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
So you might have been able to make that too, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that would have been a good choice. But you chose Porsche, and you've been Porsche ever since. So, do you own a Porsche in real life? Did Porsche Chile come to the party, give you a car to drive around?
Yeah, you should.
Actually, you win the world championship.
And I actually have a story with these guys here in Chile. That there was a competition for Porsche North America, or the whole America Porsche.
That last year that was the USA one, wasn't it?
No, that was in 2020.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that was between June and July. I don't remember the exact dates. But every country had to put one driver on the grid, and the best 3 or the podium got to travel to the United States and meet the CEO of Porsche Latin America.
Wow.
Nice.
And these guys from Chile, they put the sons, the CEO son, for Porsche.
Wow. Who chose? Who got to choose? Was it Porsche themselves?
They themselves, Porsche Chile themselves chose to put the CEO's son into that race.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
So I lost my chance to travel to the United States and meet the CEO from Porsche Latin America.
Oh man.
How did the CEO's son that ended up going? How did they perform?
Oh, spectacular!
Oh, they did well. Okay, right.
From 13 drivers, he ended up like 15. For example.
Oh, okay.
Shocker. Because was he going up? He would have been racing on GT against real GT drivers, right? People who knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you think it should have been you? It should have been you, shouldn't it?
Me or Fabian or Nico.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Nico,
of
yeah.
course. Yeah.
And you've kind of taken up the mantle
actually,
for Nico, haven't you? For Chile, you're kind of the number one now, right?
Right now, I think yes.
The chili hot pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened? Do you speak to him?
Sorry, what?
Do you speak to Nico? Because he's moved to another sim now, hasn't he?
Yeah, iRacing.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
He's in iRacing.
He's
Okay.
yes, he's full focus on iRacing. I don't know if he's won any championship. To be honest, I think he's. I don't know actually.
So
But
is he has he moved on from Gran Turismo, so to speak?
Yeah,
Do you think
absolutely.
he'll come back? No, he's moved on. He's
I don't think so. No, not at all. Since
Hey, look,
2020, he got into iRacing and he hasn't stopped.
No, fair enough.
Like all things, you give it a couple of years, and obviously the game continues to get better and evolve every update. So, of which we haven't had one this month, just side note. But like
PD having a holiday.
give it a year. He might see what we're all doing and think, oh yeah, I might hop back in and see if I can still cut it with the big guys.
Yeah, but to be honest, the GT Hall series or the GT World series has lost a lot of potential, on the last couple of years, and that's quite sad. And that's one of the reasons I think he left. And
right, okay.
I keep thinking about it because I've been on ACC for a year, so I've been dedicating for these two sim games, and to be honest, I see a lot of potential on ACC more than it already has. It gives you money, gives you chances to drive in real life. So. Yeah, I think ACC is quite a good option.
I think the difference between ACC and GT, and it's very easy to forget because obviously, with sport being GT Sport being a very esports focused title, and now we've got GT7, which is a return to form for the franchise of road cars, rally cars, race cars, all the sort of it's everything. Whereas you have ACC, which is specifically race cars and specifically, GT3, GT4. So it's better because it's obviously one type of car. Whereas Gran Turismo, you've got, a pickup truck and a Mercedes VGT.
Makes you more versatile racing on GT.
Yeah.
But you focus it up for ACC, but, it kind of also becomes boring if you're always driving the same car. I don't know, but I suppose a real race driver only drives one car for a year. So, do you think until you'll eventually quit GT altogether and just focus on ACC, or do you think you'll stick around for a long time?
Right now, well, I want to win the world championship of GT, but at the same time, I want to grow in ACC. So for at least for this year as well on 2022, I will keep trying to practice and get better on both, or keep doing them both at the same time.
If you win the championship, will you then say that's enough GT?
Probably. I don't know exactly. I don't know 100%. I don't know.
You wouldn't want to.
I would reach my goal on GT.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wow.
No, look,
So,
that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Yeah, can't argue with that.
Yeah.
And
It's a
from
good goal
what
to
I've
have.
heard too, and I'm not sure about how true this is, but apparently the FIA actually might be coming back to Gran Turismo.
Since I talked
yeah.
on the party, yes.
Yeah.
There's a pretty
Hey,
good
what was
chance
that?
that the
What was-
FIA is coming back.
Ooh.
Do you think
'Cause
2023 or later?
Well, the thing about it is that 2022 was such a bad year for Gran Turismo as a franchise, right? As a whole. And when it was announced that the FIA wasn't going to be partnering with the championship, everyone took it as, oh, they've ditched the game because it's crap, and they've ditched it. But what actually happened is they basically just agreed to leave it for a bit while the game got better. So it's not that they left. It wasn't a goodbye. It was a see you later. So
Exactly.
it's a good question, Adam. Do they intend to come back 2023 or 2024 or when exactly? I don't know. But the fact is that when the FIA comes back into the scene, then obviously the events might become that much more professional and organised like they used to. They might get a bit of their former glory back.
Yeah, we might hear more soon because I heard, and I don't know how true this is, that in February, Polyphony Digital will have their a meeting to schedule out how 2023 is going to look, and that might include a discussion about the return of FIA to the game.
I hope that the return of FIA give us new stewards.
Oh, that's brilliant. Do you think we'll see more live events this year? Do you think we'll have 3 or more?
I don't know, because I like this format, and well, with this format, you have only 2 live events.
Yeah.
You kind of have more, So they will need to change the whole format to add more live events, and I don't know. I don't know exactly. It's like I will want to visit more countries to get more live events, but at the same time, I like the format.
Yeah, it's much more time manageable.
I get that Monaco is always their world finals, the world finals in Monaco, but I reckon they need to start doing the cover more countries. I think
they want to.
A while ago, we talked about how the Australian World Tour was great, but when are they realistically ever going to come back to this corner of the world? And I reckon they should, if not the other side of Australia, then maybe New Zealand or maybe
New Zealand would be great.
Would it ever? But
I'd go watch that. Don't you worry. Yeah, I think the big issue with the Australian World Tour I heard was there were issues with people getting visas, and I think the story was Fabian. Actually, he couldn't get a visa until the day before, and they confirmed it and they flew him out, and he arrived there on the day of competition because it was such a hassle.
That would have been hard for
New Zealand's
jet
friends.
lag.
New Zealand's friends with a lot of people, with a lot of countries though, so it shouldn't have that issue if they decide to
we can hope, but I wouldn't expect too much. I think they like to center in Europe because they've done Nürburgring, they've done Austria. They haven't done London yet. I think that might be their next big one. And Paris is the other one that they've done.
Spain was the other one that they were thinking. Spain,
Okay.
Madrid.
Oh, that would be great.
That'd be good.
And
Tokyo. Tokyo,
New York,
Salzburg.
Well, hopefully they do expand it.
Austria is a pretty easy one with the Red Bull hangar. And that's the other thing too. It's not only is it we want to race in insert country here, it's also finding a venue. I mean, the Red Bull hangar, obviously. Monaco, they've got a very nice venue for Monaco. Germany, they had the Nürburgring as well. It's like you say,
I guess we'll see what they come out with.
The meeting in February will be interesting. Yeah, so
to be a fly on the wall in that meeting.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Could you imagine that?
Well, do you have anything that you want to say to anyone who maybe is watching Angel, fans, viewers, just supporters of the World Series in general? Anything you want to say about your past experiences, the future, or to them? Or what would you say to people who are trying to get to World Tours who haven't gone yet, for example?
Well, to people that are trying to qualify or get better at this game, just keep going. I don't know, watch videos or something, stuff like that. And keep learning about how to be faster. I mean, it's something that you can learn about. At the end, you need talent, but you can learn, And for the people watching this, well, thanks for watching, of course, and thanks for the support that I received after the World Final.
Yeah, of course.
And it's great to have you here, man, because I think it's a really good topic to bring to light. Obviously, people need to know about the events that transpired and all that sort of thing. And I know that all three of us have been real happy to have you on.
Yeah, it's been great. I've been looking forward to this for a couple of weeks, actually.
this has been really huge. And I mean, I feel a bit bad just because I'm exhausted, man. It's the floods and everything has just been so full on. But it's been so cool having just hearing stories. I mean, it's always cool when we have World Tour drivers on as guests because it's we all race ourselves obviously and we're all trying to beat each other respectfully, so to have people like you come on and obviously share your insight and share your just you make it sound so easy, but then it's like we're gonna hop on and practice for Nations or Manu or whatever, and it's just putting all that sort of stuff into practice. It's cool to hear all these inputs, eh? So
it is so much harder than it looks. Dead set.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think that's gonna wrap up this episode. Did we have anything else, gentlemen, that we wanted to touch on, or
I'm all clear.
questioned out? All questioned out. And did you have any questions for us?
No.
No.
Who are you guys again?
No, to be fair, Angel did ask what smoke looks like.
Yeah, he did. You'll find out in due course.
Yeah.
Along
with the rest of the world.
I only got 190 more subs to go on my channel. It'll be listed here, my YouTube, when you're watching this. It'll be listed there.
Even we don't know what smoke looks like.
No one
knows.
No one does. Yeah, no. Yeah, I talk to Nizzo and Atom almost every day. Tez I talk to in particular every day as well, and still don't know what I look like.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a big thing for sure. But yeah, okay. Well, thanks everyone for listening. I think that's gonna wrap up this episode of the Trackside Lounge. I think obviously we need to stand a massive thank you to Angel for coming on and joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure to sit here and talk with you for a couple of hours. Angel, we really thank you for this opportunity. It's been great.
Thanks to you guys for having a talk with me.
Oh, it's okay. The pleasure is all ours.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's going to wrap it up, I think. So, as always, do hit that like button if you enjoyed, and do subscribe if you'd like to see some more podcasts from us. Make sure you leave a comment as well, as questions, comments, constructive criticism, as always, very much appreciated. That's going to wrap up this episode of the Trackside Lounge podcast today, and that means that is going to be it from us. So once again, we do thank you very much for watching. See you later.
Nice one.
Excellent.
Oh, man.
Love it. I got the outro right.